So, hello there, welcome back. I don't think you were expecting to see me back so soon, were you? But here we are. It was brought to my attention via Twitter, and in a response to my actual video on there, that there is a petition that's trying to get people aware of the fact that employees at Activision, for getting involved with this lawsuit and speaking out, potentially could be punished for doing so, which obviously, is against the law if you didn't know. And just the thing, I will have the change.org this thing in below. I'm uncertain whether I can actually sign it or not, because quite often, for some reason, if you're signing from a different nation, so like I'm not American, if you hadn't have guessed by the accent by now, they decide that you're a bot and you're not actually a real person, because for some reason, international solidarity doesn't fucking exist, apparently. But, we move. If there's any Americans watching this, feel free. It only needs 200 signatures to reach its goal, so that's a very small number, isn't it? There's like 19 subscribers here. We can, help do that. I'll probably, after this video, just do it myself. But I would like to thank everyone who did boost the video yesterday. Very much appreciate it. It helps spread the word, doesn't it? And doing your part, no matter how small it is, it all helps at the end of the day, doesn't it? And I'm very appreciative of it. So, let's get into this part then. Activision Blizzard workers accuse company of union busting and intimidation. Now, if you've been keeping an eye on this or watching my videos on this, we spoke about that a few weeks ago in regards of they hired law firm WilmerHale, who is notorious for union busting on behalf of Amazon. One of the biggest retail companies in the world, for some reason, doesn't want their workers to group together. It's always a bit sus, that, isn't it? Why would you care that much? Unless your business model is based off profiteering and overworking people. It's always a bad look. Even people who don't like unions, whether you're like massively right-wing or something, surely you would think and go, why don't they want their workers to earn more money? It's weird. Activision and Blizzard workers are accusing the company of intimidation and union busting in a charge filed with the National Labour Relations Board. The workers argue that Activision Blizzard management is using coercive tactics to attempt to prevent its employees from exercising their rights to stand together and demand a more equitable, sustainable and diverse workplace. They had filed an unfair labour practice charge with the NLR, and obviously we discussed how the Communications Workers of America's campaign to organise digital employees were supporting the workers yesterday, but we didn't have the document to suggest what they needed to support for. That's why I made the video into the effect of labour violations on the average person and how widespread it was yesterday. So, because I didn't have a lot of information going into there. But now we do, and here's this update. In the charging document, the workers allege that within the last 6 months, the above-named employer has repeatedly engaged in unlawful conduct by threatening employees and told employees they cannot communicate with or discuss ongoing investigations of wages, hours, and working conditions maintained on an overly broad social media policy, enforce the social media policy against employees who have engaged in protected concerted activity, threatened or disciplined employees on the account of protected concerted activity, engaged in surveillance of employees, engaged in protected concerted activity, and engaged in interrogation of employees about protected concerted activity. And the protected concerted activity is obviously anyone who is vocal about working conditions, pay, lack of diversity, wanting change, and speaking out. We've often spoken in the past about the need for people to remain anonymous when speaking out against working conditions. This is why. These allegations are why you get punished for giving the publisher a slight bloody nose by exposing them to the public about what they're allegedly really like, and obviously creating a PR nightmare for them. Because let's be real, Activision Blizzard worry about the PR of the company and the way that the company looks, not the actual people that are under their employment. So, on the subject of anonymity, we have a current Activision Blizzard employee, and I'm going to share their story. They've obviously remained anonymous because they fear retaliation, and they've gone on record here saying that some employees have recently been told their performance was not up to par by their lead, even though they've been doing well. We think since they're being so outspoken, leadership is trying to get rid of them, adding that the person in question has been outspoken in internal company channels. As a result of these tactics, I've noticed some people have gone completely silent or even quit the company and the games industry altogether. We've seen retaliation already, so I'm scared. The employees said the mood among colleagues and other workers who are part of the alliance had been hopeful for change, but they don't think that it will come from leadership. They're keeping us in the dark. Another current employee said that Blizzard has been hemorrhaging people in the last few weeks, referring to employees quitting the company in the wake of the harassment allegations. I am so glad to see CWA supporting and protecting my co-workers from these coercive and isolating tactics, a third current employee told Motherboard. It is important that people know their rights and that they have the ability to enforce those rights. People should not fear for their jobs because they are speaking up to be treated with humanity. So that is that allegation there. You know, as you can see, people are really worried about their jobs and they don't want to be pushed out through the door. It could be a thing where Activision Blizzard play this like a dastardly villain, like Dick Dastardly. So you can't fire someone under these situations because you'll be breaking labour laws, but you can make the workplace environment so toxic and make people so afraid from punishment of speaking out even further that you can force the people that are causing the PR problem from you into quitting and thereby taking the win that way. And if I was a dastardly head of a corporation in this situation, it's what I would probably do, you know, if I was that kind of person. So, you know, we need to keep the pressure on them. When it's a thing where it's like, each time this comes up, they obviously face more scrutiny. We need to keep that scrutiny on them because otherwise it allows the situations like this. They're like, oh well, we've dealt with the worst of it. Let's get back to normal kind of thing. So, the US government is looking into Activision Blizzard. So this is just spiraling out of their control. I genuinely believe that they thought a few months ago that they were able to just change a few faces at the top and hope that due to a lack of public pressure that this would all kind of go away. But credit to those who are keeping the pressure on. You're doing a wonderful job and you're making them worried. And that's good for this kind of thing. By keeping it in the public eye, you're keeping the PR pressure on them. And they worry about PR because then a bad PR means people are ever so slightly less likely to part with their cash for their products. And that's the main concern from any company ever. So the SEC are investigating Activision Blizzard. The Securities and Exchange Commission has opened its own investigation into Activision Blizzard's response to sexual misconduct and workplace harassment allegations. This was in the Wall Street Journal yesterday. According to the paper, the SEC has requested a variety of documents from the publisher, including CEO Bobby Kotick's communication with other high-level executives about the allegations. Beyond that, the regulator wants to see separation agreements with employees who have left this year, personnel files for 6 former employees, and board meeting minutes going back 2 years. Now, I'm very glad of this because I feel like the higher-ups of Activision Blizzard just thought that maybe we freshen up a few faces here. That will be enough to throw the public a bone, and then, this will all blow over. But now we get to see their reaction from it. And obviously, I am one of many people who quite rightfully believe that there's no way that they didn't already know about this. This was an ongoing lawsuit going for a few years, as far as I'm aware. This wasn't just they're filing the lawsuit and it came out of nowhere. They had to cooperate with it. So how much did they know at the time? And what did they do about it? Not a lot, I would imagine. But we'll find out as this goes on with this new investigation. An Activision Blizzard representative said that the company was cooperating with the SEC investigation, noting that the agency had been subpoenaed past and present employees. We've made sure and making a number of important changes to improve our policies and procedures to ensure that there's no place anywhere in our company for discrimination, harassment, or unequal treatment of any kind. That would, have more of a power behind those words if you weren't currently being investigated for that very thing. Who's going to believe that poor representative? Because that's all they have to say, and even they know nobody's going to believe them. But that's what they're being forced to do, to try and improve PR image. One of the issues that SEC is looking into is whether Activision Blizzard had an obligation to inform investors about the investigation into workplace and gender pay gap allegations before it was made public by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, which filed the lawsuit in July. So again, they knew about it. At the time the lawsuit was filed, Activision Blizzard said it had been extremely cooperative with the DFEH throughout their investigations and called the complaint inaccurate, distorted, rushed, and in many cases, false. Some Activision Blizzard investors clearly think that they should have been informed earlier, as they filed a lawsuit against the publisher last month, claiming it had made false and/or misleading statements and/or failed to disclose a number of relevant facts about the business regarding the DFEH lawsuit. And an update to this story, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has been conducting its own examinations of Activision. The EEOC has reportedly been looking into allegations of gender-based harassment at the publisher since at least May 2020, and it is said to be in settlement talks with Activision, which could end up paying millions of dollars. The agency declined to comment to the Wall Street Journal and is unclear whether the federal agency will publicly release the details of its findings. So, potentially, we could have a backdoor deal done here with a branch of government that will never find out the details of what they found was going on, And we live in a fair and just society, and there's no corruption here whatsoever. It's weird. I literally said that they'll probably play a settlement yesterday, and here we are. Am I the smartest person on the planet? Or is it just that painfully obvious that the system is quite corrupt, and nobody ever has to face huge charges against anything if you have money? I have learnt my lesson. Never again am I going to say that definitely this is the next video that's coming out. It's just happened so many times where I thought that the story would fizzle out. The times do feel like they're changing a little bit. I do wonder if people have learnt their lesson from the Ubisoft debacle and there are just simply more people holding games companies to account than before, and more people speaking about it. That's why the information is much easier to find than in the past, and there's more appetite to hold these companies accountable. And because of that, it seems like it's a bigger thing. Or it could just be simply down to the fact that Activision Blizzard is bigger than Ubisoft. I don't know. There's a lot of things to think about and are in play regarding that. It's also a thing that, technically speaking, Ubisoft makes more games. So by making more games, you have a bit more of a PR buffer than just releasing Call of Duty every year. You have your one big game franchise. So when you're not releasing Call of Duty information, you're going to be in the news for this. Whereas Ubisoft have so many different games coming out that at any point they can just go, right, we'll drop a little information about Far Cry 6 because we've just seen a story that could be potentially damaging for PR, so we'll bury it. Would not surprise me. It's exactly what I would do in that situation, if I was working there, It's clever. It's dastardly, but it's clever. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, if anything happens between now and the Ubisoft video, I will make another one. But I'm hoping next month we can talk about Ubisoft. It'll be similar to this kind of topics that we've covered. I'm kind of going for a different tact. It's going to be less videos, but potentially longer, because obviously it's compiling things that have happened in the past. And while it is technically a developing story, there doesn't seem to be as much eyes on it, which is why I'm mentioning it. I did say a while ago that I just want to go through these allegations from these companies and compile them just so that I can raise awareness from it. I know that nothing's going to be done based on, me talking about it, but if I can at least make one person aware of what has been going on, then I've done my job, really, effectively, with these videos, right? But with that being said, until I see you again, I hope you're doing well, and, look after yourselves, because the company you work for certainly doesn't care about you. What a cheery note to end the video on. Goodbye.